Lesson 2. The British, from traders to rulers. On May 20, 1498.
European trading companies in India. The discovery of this new sea route led to a fierce competition among the British, the Dutch, the Portuguese and the French companies to control trade with India.
The Portuguese. First Europeans to arrive in India were the Portuguese. They set up their trading posts along the coast in Calicut, Cochin, Goa, Diu, Daman, Salsette and Bessin. The Dutch East India Company was formed in 1602 with the purpose of lucrative trade in spices with India and the East. They established factories in Musulipatnam, Surat and Cochin. They exported indigo, cotton textile, silk, salt, pepper and opium from India. The British East India Company, a group of enterprising businessmen in England, formed the East India Company in AD 1600. Queen Elizabeth I granted the company the sole right to trade with India in return for a share of its profits. In 1608, Captain William Hawkins was sent to the Mughal Emperor Jahangir to seek permission to set up trading posts in India.
The French. The last European power to enter India were the French. They formed their trading company in 1664 and set up their trading centers in Surat, Masulipatnam, Mahe and Chandranagore. In 1674, they founded Pondicherry, which became their capital.
From traders to rulers, the British conquest of India. Initially, the English East India Company only wanted privileges and trade concessions from Indian rulers and did not aim at conquering the territories. They, however, soon realized the need for establishing their dominance by occupying territories.
Anglo-French rivalry. Clash of trade interest between Britain and France led to a series of wars commonly known as the Carnatic Wars. The English and the French fought 3 battles in the Carnatic, the present state of Tamil Nadu. These wars lasted for 20 years, 1744 to 1763. The Carnatic Wars ended with the defeat of the French. The French were left only with Pondicherry and Chandranagore. This cleared the way for the establishment of British rule in India.
The conquest of Bengal. The British now focused their attention towards conquering Bengal. In the early 18th century, Siraj-ud-Daulah, the Nawab of Bengal, refused to grant the company concessions and demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade. This led to frequent confrontations between the company and the Nawabs of Bengal, and ultimately it culminated into the famous Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey. Causes of the Battle of Plassey. In 1756, Sirajuddaulah, the Nawab of Bengal, refused to grant trade concessions to the British. He asked them to stop interference in the political affairs of Bengal. He also asked them to stop their fortification and pay the revenues. On their refusal to do so, the Nawab marched over to Calcutta and occupied Fort William. Under the command of Robert Sleeve in 1757, Company's army defeated Sirajuddaulah at Plassey. The Battle of Plassey is famous because it marked the beginning of the Company's rule in India. The Battle of Buxar. After defeating Sirajuddaulah, Company appointed Mir Zafar as Nawab of Bengal. Mir Zafar became a puppet in the hands of the English. When he could not meet the demands of the British, he was deposed by the Company and his son-in-law, Mir Qasim, was put on the throne. Mir Qasim soon began to have differences with the British. He abolished duties on internal trade for Indians so that Indians could also trade on equal footing. This made the British unhappy. The combined forces of these three fought against the British at the Battle of Buxar in 1764. The British army defeated the rulers and re-established their superiority. The Treaty of Allahabad. After their defeat in the Battle of Buxar, the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II, Shuja-ud-Daulah, and the Nawab of Awadh entered into a treaty with the Company. This treaty is known as the Treaty of Allahabad. The Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II granted the British the Diwani, the right to collect revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, making the British the virtual rulers of these states.
Dual government in Bengal. The dual government or diarchy established in Bengal meant the rule of two. According to this system, the British had the power and revenues but no responsibility. On the other hand, the Nawabs had all the responsibility but no power and no stable source of income. Under this system of dual government, the people of Bengal suffered miserably.
Company rule expands. The period between 1765 to 1857 was the next phase of British conquest of India. Almost the whole of Indian subcontinent was brought under their rule by means of annexations, alliances and wars. The Company appointed residents in Indian states to serve the interests of the Company. Through these residents, the company officials began to interfere in the internal affairs of Indian states, like appointments in different administrative posts and successors to the throne.
The conquest of Mysore. Mysore, a powerful state in the south, controlled the spice trade. The powerful rulers of Mysore, Hyder Ali, 1761 to 1782, and his son Tipu Sultan, 1782 to 1799, opposed the British as they had close ties with the French.
4 battles that took place between the British and the rulers of Mysore are known as the Anglo-Mysore Wars. First Anglo-Mysore War, 1767 to 1769. Hyder Ali defeated the forces of East India Company in Madras. Second Anglo-Mysore War. This war was triggered when the British captured the French possessions at Mahe, which were under the protection of Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali died in this war, and his son, Tipu Sultan, continued the fight. The war ended in 1784, followed by the Treaty of Mangalore. Third Anglo-Mysore War, 1785. In this war, the British took 2 of his sons as hostages and defeated Tipu Sultan. Tipu was forced to give half of his territory and sign the Treaty of Seringapatnam. Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, or the Battle of Seringapatnam, 1799. Lord Wellesley defeated Tipu in this war. Tipu was killed in this battle defending his capital, Seringapatnam, and the British annexed half of his kingdom, and subsidiary alliance was imposed on the state. War with the Marathas. After their defeat in the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761, the Marathas were divided into many states under different chiefs, Sardars, belonging to dynasties such as Sindhia, Holkar, Gaikwad, and Bhonsle. These chiefs formed an alliance under a Peshwa who was their military and administrative head based in Pune. The British had to fight several wars with the Marathas to occupy their territories. First Anglo-Maratha War ended in 1782 with the Treaty of Salbhai. Second Anglo-Maratha War was fought on different fronts. As a result of this war, the British gained Orissa and the territories north of the Yamuna River, including Agra and Delhi.
Third Anglo-Maratha War of 1817 to 1819 finally crushed the Maratha power. The company now had complete control over the territories south of the Vindhyas.
Strategies used by the British. Subsidiary alliance. Lord Wellesley, the Governor-General of India, 1798 to 1805, forced many states to enter into a subsidiary alliance. According to this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. Company supplied troops to them for their protection from other rulers. The rulers were to pay a fixed sum of maintaining the subsidiary forces. If the Indian rulers failed to make the payment, then part of their territory was taken away as penalty. The local rulers got security but lost independence. Direct annexation. Direct annexation means using force to take control of a neighboring territory. The British took full control of the state in the guise of protecting the state. Gradually, the Indian ruler stopped maintaining their army in the state. Law and order situation in the state deteriorated. British collected more taxes to pay for the maintenance of British troops. The British annexed the state on the pretext of misrule in the state.
Wellesley used the method of direct annexation for annexing small kingdoms of Surat, Travancore and Carnatic.
The doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, Governor-General from 1848 to 1856, devised a policy known as the doctrine of lapse. The doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler of a subsidiary state died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse, that is, become a part of company territory and will not automatically pass to his adopted heir. The kingdoms of Satara, 1848, Sambalpur, 1850, Udaipur, 1852, Nagpur, 1853, Jhansi, 1854, and many other kingdoms were annexed by applying this doctrine. Policy of Paramountancy. Lord Warren Hastings, Governor-General from 1813 to 1823, initiated the policy of Paramountancy. According to the policy of Paramountancy, the British declared that
the British was paramount or supreme power. Their power was greater than the power of Indian states. In order to protect its power, it was justified in annexing or threatening to annex any Indian kingdom. This policy was used to justify the annexations of Punjab, Sindh and Afghanistan in 1830s.
Pretext of misrule. Dalhousie annexed Awadh in 1856 on the pretext of misrule and misgovernment. This issue created a lot of unrest among the Indian soldiers in the British Army.
The British feared the growing power of Russia and were worried that Russia might enter India through the northwest.
To safeguard their northwest frontier, they fought a prolonged war with Afghanistan 1838 to 1842 and established an indirect company rule there. In 1843, they also took control of Sindh. Anglo-Sikh Wars. Punjab remained independent under the rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He had a strong, well-equipped, trained army like the European army. British did not interfere with Punjab as long as Maharaja Ranjit Singh was alive. After his death in 1839, two wars were fought with the Sikh kingdom. Ultimately, Punjab was annexed in 1849. Reasons for the success of the British. Weakness of Indian rulers. Some Indian rulers choose subsidiary alliance rather than fighting the British. Absence of strong central leadership. Lack of unity among the Indian rulers. Superior army and navy of the British.